Hi, my name is Don Berg. This is Antonio Roja. He is a high school graduate. In 2009, National Public Radio's Beth Fertig wrote a book about Antonio and two other New York City high school graduates because they successfully sued the state for failing to teach them to read. Antonio, along with the anonymous siblings Yamilka and Alejandro, went through years of instruction but failed to learn what they were taught until after the courts awarded them services that better served their needs. This is not as unusual as you might think. The 2009 high school transcript study by the National Center for Education Statistics reported that 1 in 4 graduates are, like Antonio, below basic standards. So these kids were unusual for getting access to a remedy from the courts, but not for their educational outcomes. With over half of all public school students now qualifying for free and reduced lunch, and with learning disabilities on the rise, we have a lot of kids with a variety of disadvantages that make them more likely to not learn what their teachers are teaching. But I'm a psychologist, and we psychologists know that learning is not something that can be turned off. Learning happens as long as you are alive and awake, so the question that I want to explore with you is, what are kids like Antonio learning during all those years in school? Learning is happening because they are alive and usually kept awake, so something is being learned, though clearly not the explicit curriculum everyone is told they are being taught. This is where the hidden curriculum factors in. The unsolved mystery of the hidden curriculum is what exactly it is that is lurking unseen in classrooms that can, despite everyone's best intentions, still systematically cause these kinds of bad outcomes. And the fact is that we humans have had trouble with hidden causes before. In London, over the course of 16 years, tens of thousands of people died of an unseen cause called cholera. Then in 1848, they decided to make a major infrastructure investment to clear the air. You see, they had raw sewage running in their streets, and the place was a stinking mess. Also, at that time, most people thought that cholera was caused by bad smells, by the miasma in the air. The legislation that authorized that major infrastructure investment was called the Nuisances Removal and Disease Prevention Act. They thought that by removing the nuisance of bad smells, they were also preventing disease. Unfortunately, their solution to clearing the sewage off the streets was to wash it into the river. City officials deliberately turned the Thames into London's toilet. But the river was also the drinking water for about 2/3 of London's residents. A few years after the air clearing infrastructure was operational, cholera struck again. It was the worst outbreak London ever saw, and thousands more people died because city officials got it wrong. Those particular actions taken to fight disease under miasma theory made the 1854 epidemic worse, not better. But after studying the situation of disease with sufficient rigor, with that particular epidemic playing a major role, we eventually figured out that hidden things called germs cause disease. Bad air had nothing to do with it. Our well-being has several other hidden causes that were also difficult to figure out. For instance, we are dependent on the oxygen hidden in the air and the material nutrients hidden in our food. Careful, scientific investigation ruled out other intuitively plausible explanations for our dependence on air and food. So, having a problem with a hidden cause is not a new situation, and scientific investigations have been crucial to solving this kind of causal mystery. Now, let me give you a demonstration that will help with our exploration. I'm going to give you 2 sets of instructions. In preparation, please look at my face. First, in any way you can, stop seeing my face. In any way you want, just stop seeing my face. Pretty easy. All you had to do was look away, close your eyes, or block your view. Please notice that the task of seeing my face is a deliberate, effortful, and avoidable one. There's nothing about the task or how I presented it that could stop you from disobeying my instruction. In other words, the volitional character of the task of seeing or not seeing my face gives you a valid choice in the matter. You can do it or not. In preparation for the second instruction, please look at my face again. Now, as you continue to see, my eyes, my cheeks, and my mouth using only your force of mental willpower. Stop seeing my nose. As you continue to see all the rest of my face using only willpower, stop seeing my nose. In case you are still struggling with the task, you should know that it is actually impossible. Please notice that the task of seeing my nose as you continue to see the rest of my face is an automatic, unconscious, and unavoidable one. The task as presented does not give you any option in regards to my instruction. In other words, the volitional character of the task of seeing or not seeing my nose gives you no valid choice in the matter. You cannot do the requested task. Because of the way all human brains are wired, there are facial recognition processes that take in faces as whole experiences. The fact is that if you see my eyes, my cheeks, and my mouth, then that triggers in your brain hidden facial recognizing mechanisms. Which means that if my nose is within view, you will automatically see my nose too. And there's nothing you can do to change that. The cognitive processes hidden in your brain makes that happen. You will never become aware of that process, and it will never change short of physical damage to your brain. The fact is that if I want to teach a lesson that involves seeing only my cheeks, eyes, and mouth, then seeing my nose is a hidden curriculum that is automatically, unconsciously, and unavoidably included. The fact that the lesson requires seeing any of the other parts of my face brings along the seeing of my nose as well, unless I make special arrangements to ensure that my nose is not even available to be seen. If I am a responsible principal or teacher, and I know that seeing noses during that particular lesson is going to be a problem, then it is not enough to simply tell teachers and students not to see the noses. If I'm going to act responsibly, then I have to deliberately shape the situation in which the lesson occurs in order to ensure that the appropriate methods of preventing nose viewing are both available and implemented effectively. That kind of hidden cognitive process also deals with the behavior of other people, especially when they are trying to manage your behavior. Whenever you are receiving instruction or otherwise being managed, the behavior of your manager is automatically evaluated by hidden cognitive processes in your brain. If the person managing your behavior behaves in just the wrong way, then your brain will automatically, unconsciously, and unavoidably devote less energy and attention to the tasks they want you to do. If your manager behaves in a way that thwarts one of your psychological needs, then your brain will begin to direct your body to generate expressions of psychological distress, such as becoming anxious. Your brain will automatically dial down your motivation and at the same time diminish your ability to do that work effectively. What scientists have discovered is that we have primary needs for more than just air, water, food, shelter, and sleep. We also have psychological needs that affect our well-being, how well we learn, and how effectively we work. Those psychological needs are for relatedness, competence, and autonomy. When any of our primary needs are neglected or thwarted, we will not be able to work as effectively as possible. And the more systematic the thwarting, the more systematic the compromise of our abilities. In part 2, I will finally address exactly what students like Antonio learned from the hidden curriculum.